and welcome back. I know that you have been waiting anxiously for me to come back to Grammie's Book Nook and share a book with you. So here I am. I've been looking forward to seeing you too. In fact, I wish I could see you, and I can't wait until I have the opportunity to do that soon. Today I'm going to be doing a picture book. I know that we have some younger readers and they enjoy seeing the pictures as opposed to a chapter book. So the book that I've selected today is called The BRAIDS Girl, and it's written by McCourt, and it's illustrated by a man called Ladwig. So let's get started with our book for today. We start out seeing a girl coming out of the house with her grandpa. So let me get on my reading glasses so I can see what we're looking at here, and we'll share this story together. I think you're going to really enjoy it. Grandpa Mike did lots of volunteer work. He volunteered every Sunday. He called it his God work. I really never knew what he meant by that until the Sunday he stopped by our house on his way. "Why don't you come along today, Izzy?" he asked. "I'd go anywhere with Grandpa Mike." It looks like she has a very happy friendship and relationship with her grandpa. I love to see that. She wasn't really sure where they were going, but when they walked up, she saw a building, and on the sign in front it said, "Family Togetherness Home." We headed off to the Family Togetherness Home, a place where moms and dads and kids stayed when they didn't have any money or anywhere else to live. Some of the people at the home looked tired and wore strange clothes. It scared me a little bit to be around people who seemed so different from me. Here they are sharing a meal at the Togetherness family home, and everybody looks like they're having a pretty good time. I love seeing that. But Grandpa Mike smiled and talked to them all like they were old friends of his. He dished out food for them onto little plastic plates. Sometimes Grandpa Mike pretended that he was a waiter in a very classy, fancy restaurant, serving up fancy meals to important customers. Everybody laughed when he said, "Would Madame care for another biscuit?" I saw a girl about my age sitting on the floor in the corner. Her clothes were dirty and torn, and her hair hung in 2 long braids that were coming undone because they weren't even fastened on the ends. She had her arms wrapped around her bent knees, and she was rocking back and forth with a sad look on her face. And I hope you can see this little girl off in the corner. It looks like she could use a friend. Grandpa Mike saw where I was looking. "Why don't you bring that fine young lady some of this gourmet chowder and sit with her a bit? It looks like she could use some cheering up." I took the bowl Grandpa Mike handed to me, and I walked slowly toward the little girl. What would I say? When the girl noticed me walking in her direction, she suddenly smiled. "You can eat your soup by me, right over here," she said. Oh no, I thought. She thinks I live here too. Oh, no, I'm bringing this for you. I brought the soup for you. I put it down in front of her and walked quickly back to Grandpa Mike. I tried to look busy serving people food, so she would see that I was one of the volunteers. I didn't actually live there. When I looked back at her, she was rocking again with that same sad look. Now she's back home again and she's sharing her day with her mom. On the way home, Grandpa Mike said how much he liked having me do God's work with him. And he said I could come with him anytime. Why are those people so poor? I asked him. Well, sometimes people make bad choices, and sometimes they just have bad luck, he said. But we're all God's children just the same. I kept thinking and wondering about the girl with the braids. Did she have any other clothes to wear? Did she go to school? Did she ever watch TV? Had she ever been to a movie? Or to an amusement park? Or even to a museum? The next day I called Grandpa Mike. I want to do God's work with you again, I told him. Well, I'm just as pleased as Punch, he said. The rest of the week I gathered up all my outgrown clothes. The braids girl was a little smaller than I was, so I guessed they'd fit her just fine. I asked Mom if it was okay for me to give my old clothes to the girl that I'd seen at the family togetherness home. I think that's a wonderful idea, she said, and she gave me a big hug. It was hard to give up some of my favorite things, even if they didn't fit me anymore. My purple high tops with the beautiful rainbow-colored laces were the hardest to give away. They were the coolest shoes I'd ever had. And here she is. She's trying to make a decision about giving something away that she really treasures. I'm hoping she's going to make the right choice. On Sunday, I showed Grandpa Mike the bag of clothes. I see God's work agrees with you, he said. When we got to the family togetherness home, I found the braids girl leaning against a woman who must have been her mother. As I started toward them, I suddenly felt unsure about the bag of clothes in my hands. Would she like the same kind of clothes that I like? Would her mother mind if I gave her some of my old clothes? When the braids girl saw me, her whole face lit up. She took a big step in my direction, saying, "You came back!" Well, I just wanted to give you these clothes, I said nervously, handing her the bag. Her smile disappeared. "Thank you," she mumbled. I hurried over to the other volunteers. I certainly didn't want anybody to think that I lived in the family togetherness home. She walked back to her mother and leaned again into her side. And there she is, just her and her mom. I think she thought something different was going to happen and was a little bit disappointed at just being handed a bag of clothes. I helped Grandpa Mike for the rest of the morning. I saw the braids girl looking at me a couple of times, but whenever she saw me looking back, she just turned away. On the way home, I asked Grandpa Mike, why didn't the braids girl like the clothes that I brought her? "Oh, I'm sure she appreciated that, Izzy," he said, "but maybe it wasn't what she really needed the most." I thought about that for a few days. What could Grandpa Mike possibly mean? And here's Izzy, just thinking about the things that have happened over the past week and wondering if there's something more she could do. What she really needs are some things of her own, I thought. I spent the rest of the week deciding which of my things I could bear to part with. Some of my stuffed animals had seen me through plenty of sad times. Maybe they would help the Braids girl feel happier. I had some favorite books, too. That would cheer anyone up. Soon, I had a bag full of what I thought were the best choices, including a comb and some hair bands so she could fasten her braids. Grandpa Mike was happy that I wanted to keep helping him with God's work. He said the other volunteers had told him how lucky he was to have such a caring and special granddaughter. That made me feel really good inside. But why didn't the Braids girl make me feel that way? She's got to love the stuff I've brought her this time. She just has to love it. I thought to myself, who wouldn't? They've always been very special to me. But deep down, I had my doubts. Now she's going back for the third time, and it looks like the Braids girl is very happy to see her. The next Sunday, the Braids girl skipped over to me before I even had a chance to look for her. "Do you want to play hopscotch?" she asked, pointing to a hopscotch board she had scratched in the dirt just outside the doorway. No, I said, but I wanted to give you this stuff. I hope you like it. The Braids girl looked down in the bag and sighed. Thanks, she said, without a smile. I didn't know what to say, so I just walked back to Grandpa Mike. It really bothered me that nothing I did ever made this Braids girl happy. So she goes over to her grandpa, and her face is just not what he expected to see. She doesn't look happy at all. Why the glum face, Izzy? Grandpa Mike asked. I just don't understand it, I said. Every time I give anything to the Braids girl, she looks more sad than she did before. I want to make people happy and do God's work like you. What am I doing wrong, Grandpa Mike? Grandpa Mike knelt down beside me. Well, first tell me something, Izzy. Why is it that you keep calling that girl the Braids girl, he asked. Well, it's because she always wears those unfastened braids, I said, and I don't know her name. Grandpa Mike scratched his chin. The best way I know of to find out a person's name is to ask them, he said. God's work doesn't have to be hard. In fact, when you're doing it right, it feels just about better than anything. He gave my hand a squeeze and then went back to joking and laughing with the people that he had come to serve. Now I'm seeing faces that match. The Braids girl had changed into my old yellow jumper, but she didn't look any happier than she did before. I watched her and I thought about what Grandpa Mike had said. Maybe things weren't all that she needed. Maybe what she needed most of all couldn't be carried in a bag. I was nervous, but I knew what I wanted to do. It's what I should have been doing all along. Hi, I said. My name is Isabella, but most everyone calls me Izzy. The Braids girl looked up, not sure at first that she could trust me this time. Then she smiled a super big smile. I'm Susan, she said. Susan, I thought. A real person with a real name. Susan. Want to play hopscotch, I asked her. Are you sure? Asked Susan. You really want to? Come on, I said. I'm not sure what's going on in this picture, but I'm going to read and we'll find out together. After we played, Susan looked in the new bag that I had brought for her. How come you keep giving me things? She asked. I didn't really know what to tell her. In the beginning, I had wanted to help her because she was poor. But now, well, I brought you the things because I wanted to be your friend, I blurted out. That's what I was hoping since the first time I saw you, Susan said. And I brought these for your braids, I said, taking out the hairbands and barrettes. Susan fingered her shiny hair shyly. That's like a tongue twister. Maybe with those, she pointed to the barrettes, I could wear my hair like you wear yours. Sure it could, I said. I'll show you. I unbraided Susan's hair and combed it out. It hung loosely and bouncy down her back, and then I used the barrettes to pull back each side just like mine. Susan ran over to a shiny stew pot to see her reflection. She looked pretty, and her smile was bigger than ever. She ran back and surprised me with a soft hug. You're the nicest girl I've ever met, she said. It looks like they're getting along quite well. I'm so happy to see that. Susan and I talked and played games for the rest of the morning. We laughed and told secrets and had lots of fun. She told me that her mom had gotten a house cleaning job and that they were leaving the home the next day to live with the family in my town. She'd even be going to the same community day camp I was going to for the summer. She was a regular kid, just like me and just like the rest of my friends. And that's what she'd wanted right from the start. She wanted for me to see her that way. It looks like Susan made something special. Later, when Grandpa Mike said it was time to go, I said goodbye to Susan. I'll save you a seat on the bus for the first day of camp next week, I promised her. Wait, Susan said, I have something to give you this time. And she reached into her pocket and pulled out a colorful, braided friendship bracelet. Susan took my arm and tied the bracelet around my wrist. The beautiful colors of the braided string looked very familiar to me. A braided gift from the Braids girl. Only she would never be just the Braids girl to me again. This bracelet is so that you'll remember me, she whispered. I suddenly knew why the bright colors in the bracelet looked so familiar to me. I looked down at Susan's feet, and sure enough, she was wearing my special outgrown purple high tops, except now they were held together by old gray and white strings. All she had in the world were the things that I had given to her, and she had given up the prettiest of those things so that she could make a gift for me. Tears stung in my eyes. I'll remember you, Susan, I said. I'll remember you for sure. The end. One of the things that I like best about this book is that it shows us we never know where we're going to find a special friend. Sometimes we go into a place and we feel like there's nobody here who's like me. How could I possibly be friends with any of these people? And then as you get to know them, you realize that you have a lot more in common than you might think. And it also made me think about how important it is to be thankful in life. Not only thankful for things. Izzy thought that things were going to be the answer to make Susan happy, but as you could see, that's not how it turned out at all. What people really need is to be loved because they're them. So if you have special family and special friends in your life, we have to remember gratitude is a very important part of life. So be on the lookout for things to be thankful for. Have an attitude of gratitude. Gratitude is a funny word. It's spelled attitude. So if you take the attitude out of gratitude, the only thing you have left is a grrr. So people who aren't thankful tend to be a little grouchy sometimes. We don't want to be like that. So something for you to think about. Anyway, I'm glad that you took time out of your day to come and share part of it with me. That always makes my heart feel really good. And you know how we end the day. I usually say a special hello to some people, which I'm going to do right now. And these people are the last stop in the morning. And you know who you are. We've got Emma, and we've got Evie, and we've got Brooke, and we have Ariana. She's very special. She doesn't go to our school, but it doesn't make her any less special. And then we've got Xavier and Elena, and their big brother Eli, who certainly doesn't go to our school because he's quite grown up, but no less important. And we've got Caleb, and we've got Christielle, and we've got Frankie, and I think that's all. I don't think I've forgotten anybody. It's been such a long time since we've been together. But I love you all, and I miss you all so very much, and I can't wait until we get together again. So we're going to wrap up our day the same way we always do, and you know what that means. It's time to roll up our sleeves and think about washing our hands again and again and again, and keeping our hands away from our faces, which can be very challenging, but I know you're doing a great job, and making sure that we give everybody enough space. Everybody ready? Here we go. Sleeves up. We're gonna wash those germs away, strong and healthy every day. We make wise choices so we stay well. We're gonna wash those germs away. We're gonna wash those germs away, strong and healthy every day. We make wise choices so we stay well. We're gonna wash those germs away. We make wise choices in every way. We're gonna wash those germs away. Woo! All right, that's it for today. I'll look forward to seeing you the next time. Have a great day. Bye now.